So you ready to settle this? Judo or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? Which one reigns supreme for self-defense?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It really is, and we're diving deep today. We've got expert opinions, articles, stories, the whole works.
You know, it's not just about, like, cool moves or anything.
Right.
It's about what really works.
Exactly, when things get real.
Exactly. And what works, well,
Yeah.
that really depends on you, right? Your goals, your definition of self-defense. I mean, are we talking about one attacker, multiple people, or just feeling safe walking home at night?
You're hitting all the right points. So let's break it down, shall we? Let's start with Judo's bread and butter. The gi throw.
Okay.
Powerful stuff. Visually impressive, right?
Oh, absolutely.
But maybe a little too reliant on that thick jacket.
The gi.
The gi, yeah. I mean, one source even joked about it, saying training judo for the street is like, well, only fighting in winter.
Yeah. Well, there's a bit of truth to that, you know? Those judo throws, they pack a punch, but you need the gi for those grips. So what happens when you're, not facing someone in a judo uniform?
That's the question, isn't it? But judo folks say those principles, like the leverage, the balance, those stick with you no matter what.
Well, absolutely. Those are fundamental to any martial art. But think about it. Wrestlers, BJJ guys, they train without the gi from day one. So wouldn't they be better at adapting,
That's a good point. So is the gi a strength or a crutch?
And speaking of strengths, another hot topic, takedowns. One source actually said judo has the best takedowns, and I kind of chuckled. Have they ever seen a wrestler in action? Those double legs or something else?
It's not really about which is better.
Right.
It's more about, like, different tools for different jobs. Judo throws, they aim for the big finish.
Oh, yeah.
The open, right?
Yeah.
Super powerful, but they can be risky. You need perfect timing.
And if you miss, you're in a bad spot. Especially if the other person knows how to wrestle.
Exactly. They'll capitalize on that opening.
Yeah. Wrestlers, they're all about, like, constant pressure, leg grabs, dynamic movement.
Relentless. We even found an example, a real match, where a college wrestler, not even Olympic level, took down an Olympic judoka repeatedly.
That's saying something.
It really does.
Yeah.
Shows that those judo throws, while powerful, might not always be the most reliable. Especially against someone who knows they're wrestling.
Interesting. So maybe judo doesn't automatically win in the stand-up game, but what about when the fight hits the ground?
Yeah.
Is BJJ really the king of the ground game, like everyone says?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It is. BJJ, it's all about the ground. Fluid transitions, submissions, controlling your opponent.
One source described it as like a flow of submission attempts.
Oh, wow.
Like a chess match, but with grappling.
Oh, I like that.
Always looking for that checkmate. Now, judo does have groundwork, right?
Yeah, they call it nawaza.
Nawaza, right. But it's more about pinning, not submitting.
Right, exactly.
Which, thinking about self-defense, pinning might not be enough.
You're right. In a street fight, pinning someone might not deter a determined attacker.
And we even found a case, a BJJ white belt, a beginner basically.
Really?
Beat a judo black belt on the ground. That's a big difference in skill.
Yeah, that's pretty significant. Of course, individual skill always plays a role.
Of course.
But it does make you think, doesn't it? BJJ's ground game seems to be generally more well-developed.
Comprehensive.
Yeah.
So we've got judo, powerful throws, but maybe risky, and BJJ, a master on the ground.
Yeah.
But let's zoom out a bit. Look at the bigger picture of self-defense. Real fights, they're messy, unpredictable, no bowing to your opponent before you go at it.
Right, no rules. And that's where this whole gi versus no gi thing gets even more interesting.
How so?
Well, how often do you see someone attacking on the street wearing a judo gi?
Not very often. Unless it's Halloween, maybe.
Exactly. So those judo throws, how practical are they really? BJJ, on the other hand, trains for anything. Grappling in tight spaces, defending against punches and kicks.
Which brings us to a point we haven't even touched on yet, striking. Judo, it's all throws and grappling.
Right.
No punches or kicks. Does that put judo folks at a disadvantage?
It's a valid point. One good punch can end the fight quick.
Yeah.
And if you don't know how to strike, well, you're vulnerable.
But judo practitioners, they're masters of breakfalls, right?
That's gotta help.
Breakfalls are amazing for minimizing injuries from, falling. But they won't save you from every punch, especially if it's a surprise attack.
True. So does that mean BJJ wins in the striking department?
Not necessarily. BJJ is primarily grappling, but a lot of BJJ schools are adding striking to their classes now.
Really?
especially the ones focused on self-defense.
Oh, interesting. I even saw this one BJJ school that starts their self-defense program by teaching you how to kick hard.
Wow, that's starting strong. Yeah. But it shows the point. No matter what art you pick, you got to learn to strike.
For self-defense, absolutely.
Okay, so we've got throws, takedowns, ground game, striking. But there's more, right? The mental side of self-defense, that's huge.
Oh, for sure.
And both Judo and BJJ, they seem to build that. The discipline, the resilience, staying calm under pressure.
Those mental skills, they come naturally when you train in martial arts.
Yeah, and one expert even said, Judo's training, it's so intense, so much energy, that it almost prepares you for the chaos of a street fight.
You're always on edge, yeah.
Exactly. But that energy needs control, right?
Oh, definitely.
And BJJ, they focus on strategy, thinking ahead, adapting to your opponent.
It's like playing chess, but with your body.
Right. So it's not just about moving the right way, but thinking the right way.
Exactly.
So it's not just the moves, it's the mindset.
Exactly. And that brings up a fascinating question. Can being really good at one art actually hurt you in the other? Like if you're a judo master, you said would that make it hard to learn BJJ without the gid?
It's like learning to drive on the left side of the road, and then suddenly you have to switch to the right. You know how to drive, but it's different.
That's a great analogy. Some experts think specializing early can limit you. Like you get tunnel vision. Others say mastering one art gives you a strong base
to build on. So which is better? Jack of all trades or master of one? Does focusing on one make you vulnerable to the other?
Good question.
Let's explore that as we keep going, shall we?
Yeah, it's a tough one, right? Does mastering one make you weak to the other? Like, let's say you've got a judoka switching to BJJ.
Okay.
Years spent perfecting throws, using that gill for every grip, every move. Now suddenly no gid.
It's like their secret weapon disappeared.
Right. They still know leverage, balance, all that.
Yeah.
But the game's changed. Could, depending on the gi, actually hold them back.
Interesting. And what about the other way around? A BJJ person never used a gid. They end up in a fight. Someone tries to use their clothes against them.
Oh, that's a good point.
But they're going to be lost.
It makes you think about where you might actually need self-defense.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Like if it's all about competition, then yeah, specialize. But real life, maybe you need more tools in the toolbox.
So are we saying being good at a little of everything is better for self-defense? Better than being a master of one?
It's not quite that simple.
Right.
It's more about knowing what each art does well, what it doesn't, and how that matters in a real fight. The judoka, if they understand BJJ groundwork, if they train without the gi sometimes, they're much better off if things go to the ground.
And the BJJ person, if they know a few judo throws, how to use someone's clothes as a grip.
Right.
They're more prepared if someone tries that on them.
Exactly. It's like, having different weapons and knowing when to use which one.
I like that. It brings us back to that question. What do you want from self-defense? Are you worried about one person jumping you, a group attack, or just like feeling confident you can handle anything?
That should guide your training. Yeah. If you're in a rough area, maybe you need striking realistic scenarios.
Right. No matter if you pick judo or BJJ.
So we're not saying one is better, period.
Nope.
It's knowing yourself, knowing the dangers around you, and training for that.
And honestly, what are you good at? What are you not so good at?
Good point.
If you're a natural striker, maybe add some Muay Thai or boxing to your judo or BJJ.
Or if you're, not the biggest person.
Yeah, BJJ, with its leverage and technique, could help against someone bigger.
Right. Play to your strengths.
Exactly. And remember, this self-defense journey, it never really ends.
It's always evolving.
You're always learning, adapting, getting better.
It's like a constant upgrade.
That's a great way to put it. And who knows, maybe you'll find yourself loving an art you never thought you would.
Or maybe you combine them.
Create your own style.
Judo, BJJ, whatever speaks to you, mix it all up. So many possibilities.
There are, but we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Right.
We still got more to uncover about judo and BJJ.
What other secrets are hiding in these arts? All right, so we've talked techniques, we've talked mindset, but what about where you actually train?
Yeah, the training environment, that's key.
It's one thing to learn to move in class, but can you do when the pressure's on?
Exactly. That's where realistic training comes in.
Yeah.
Bridging that gap, the dojo versus the street.
Right. One source talked about judo's randori, that free practice, always throwing, grappling. They said it gets you ready for anything because a real fight, it's unpredictable.
Randori's great for timing, reflexes, all that.
Yeah.
But Does it really feel like, getting attacked? The chaos, the adrenaline?
I mean, even the toughest randori, it's not the same as being jumped on the street.
Nope, not even close. And that's why a lot of self-defense experts say you gotta train for the real deal.
Like how?
Multiple attackers, obstacles, what if there's a weapon, surprises, that kind of stuff.
Oh, wow. I saw this BJJ school, they do these stress inoculation drills.
Stress inoculation?
Yeah. They yell at you, make you dizzy, push you around while you're trying to do the moves.
Oh.
Like simulating a real attack, all that sensory overload.
That's next level.
It is. But the point is, Judo, BJJ, whatever you pick, the training's got to be real.
You need to be pushed, and you need good instructors.
Not just good at the art, but good at teaching self-defense.
Yeah, exactly. They got to understand how it works in the real world.
Because knowing a perfect armbar in the gym, that's great. But what if you freeze up when it matters?
Exactly. It all comes together, the physical skills, the mental strength, the training.
This whole deep dive, it's really shown me choosing a martial art, it's not simple.
No, it's not.
Judo, BJJ, they both have so much to offer, but it's not about saying one's automatically better.
It's about you, your goals, what you're good at, what you need to work on.
And finding the right training for all that.
And don't forget, this is just the beginning. Once you pick an art, the journey's still going.
It never ends, huh?
Nope. You keep learning, adapting, getting better.
Always evolving.
Exactly. So Judo, BJJ, or your own mix of everything. Train hard, keep exploring.
Who knows what you'll find.
Exactly.
Well, that wraps up our deep dive into Judo and BJJ for self-defense. We hope you learned something new. Stay safe out there and keep that martial arts journey going.